So where I left off, I hit an ending. That ending being you version, good ending, playing as the kid. Now, as I played as the kid, it didn't really seem like there are ways they could unlock any other endings. It seemed to deterministically funnel me into the you ending and the you good ending. The good end does imply that there is a bad end. In other words, there could have been some wrong choice that I could have made that would make it so that I died at the end, as opposed to coming up with a whole siphon idea and being saved with you. However, I didn't get that ending, if it exists, and I'm not going to go back and try to get it because I don't want to. I consider it an achievement to not get bad endings. Now, I might, at the very, very end of this Let's Play, go back and get all the bad endings just to make sure that all the ones I haven't gotten yet are bad endings. But I won't do it yet, because the more good endings I get in a row without getting a bad ending, the better I am, right? So, that's what I got. Now, from observing that, it doesn't seem like it would be very likely to hit another ending besides use, implies that more endings open up the more different times you play. So if I start another new game, because this ending is cleared, that might allow me to get another ending. However, when I played Never17, when another ending was unlocked that previously could not be achieved, it would actually give me a message that would tell me that. I didn't see that here. Given when I played Never17, it was the quote-unquote Eternal Edition, which was a fan port, which means they might have added it in. It may not have been something that Kid would have put into the game. Anyway, and based on my intuition for how I expect these kind of games to work, it probably wants me to alternate. So probably it won't let me unlock another ending in the kid's route until I finish Akeshi's route, for example, or Takeshi, I guess is his name. So I would think my best bet in unlocking more routes for the kid would be to go back and play as Takeshi as opposed to the kid. Then because I presume that the kid has another route, like there's a Sara route or something that just was not accessible because choices hadn't unlocked yet because I didn't have some knowledge you're supposed to get from playing as the other character. So I, as a player, get a knowledge I wouldn't get as the kid by playing as Takeshi, but then somehow by some crazy plot contrivance, they figure out a way to explain how that somehow gives the kid knowledge. That's just kind of how these games tend to work. They tend to kind of make these separate mechanics to make it so that you learn things by playing in different routes, and somehow also the characters learn the same things you learn somehow. So I got a ending, but the ending explained extremely little as to the mysteries of this overall game. There's still a massive amount of mysteries left unsolved. I'm going to grab a piece of paper here. So I can organize these unsolved mysteries by category. So first, I guess the mysteries involving you. So even though it had Yu's good ending, we still don't. We know from the opening cutscene that her name is Yubi Sai Harukana, but she thinks it's Yubi Sai Makikana. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing this exactly right, but something like that. And that doesn't seem to be a whole, well, we know that, but we don't know the significance of it. So why do we think her name is Yubi Sai Harukana, Haru meaning spring, and she thinks it's Yubi Sai Makikana, meaning Maki meaning autumn? Like, why does that matter? Like, what caused that discrepancy? So I can think of some things. Maybe Yubi Sai Harukana is a clone of Yubi Sai Makikana, or vice versa. I gotta pause for a second. Okay, I'm back. So, what's the significance of her name being potentially different than what she thinks it is? Next, we still haven't quite fully resolved the whole issue with her parents and why they were supposed to have died before she was like even conceived. Well, her mother would have died before she would even remember her, and her dad would have died before she was even conceived. Like, we haven't figured that out. I initially thought upon hearing it that, oh, she just managed to somehow skip forward 17 years in time. 15 years after her mother's death, and she's going to die 2 years after. Somewhere in there, you just skipped forward in time. And how she skipped forward in time might have something to do with the pods that we saw in the kid's dream, which I presume are behind the Himmel door. That she was maybe like preserved for 17 years. And that is done in some sneaky little time skip hidden somewhere that we missed going through the plot the first time. But when her mom shows up like on the monitor, or someone that I presume she recognizes as the person that claimed to be her mom, she admits that she's not really Yu's mom, but then also says that she was born of her body, seemingly implying that she's a surrogate mother of her, which implies that she's a clone. We know there's clones because cloning appears in the opening cutscene. We know cloning, the concept, is going to come up somewhere. But again, it hasn't revealed, like, it still hasn't, like, resolved that. So we still have, we have a person that seems to be confirming Yu's suspicion that the mother she knows is not her real mother, which I thought would be wrong. I thought they would be, yes, she is her real mother, so she skipped forward in time. But it still doesn't, like, tie all the knots, because we don't know what relationship she has, why her name, why her name is the same name as Yu's mother, and, like, what's going on with that. So, yeah, still some mystery surrounding Yu. Surrounding Takeshi. Takeshi says that he was looking for something in the last moments before, like, in the hour and a half or whatever it took between the message from Yu's supposed mother, saying that they would evacuate the water out of the upper floor, what's it called, Erste Boden, using the pressurizer, to when they are ready to leave. He said he was looking for something, and he said that he didn't find it, but he would be able to find it after they left Lemu. So what could he be looking for in Lemu, but then he could still find once Lemu was destroyed? Well, the only thing I could think of that would solve that riddle would be love, which seems to imply that he was looking for a person in Lemu, but that person would then still be around outside Lemu. But that's the only word I could come up with that would kind of like solve that riddle. Similarly, this is the one mystery surrounding Sora. Sora claimed that she would still exist once Lemu was destroyed, implying that she has a backup somewhere. But anyway, so also regarding Takeshi, it would appear that he somehow discovered something funky that might be related to Coco. For example, he was having a beer with nobody in the relaxation area, but with the open, he was drinking a beer, but there was another open beer can next to him. Like he opened it for somebody. Implying that he might have been sitting with Coco, or so he thought. Or he might have been sitting with Sora. Maybe Sora doesn't show up on the monitor screens because of how her SDR self works. Also, he cleaned up the rat trap for some reason. Now, there is a screensaver that's Tsumugi with a rat. So maybe there really was a rat, and somehow Tsumugi convinced him to give up on trapping the rat. But it could have also, the hot dogs and the food damage could have been done by Coco's dog. Remember, Coco has a dog named Pee-Pee. So Pee-Pee might be in the story and be tangible and could get in the food. Okay, and then Tsumugi, at the beginning, it's highly implied that she was part of setting up. She took she took part in setting up the disaster that befell Lemieux. She like helped orchestrate it, and she seems to be working with Leiblich, but unwillingly. It's like she thinks that everyone else is working for Leiblich and is doing some trick on her, trying to pretend like she went back in time and is repeating the past. She doesn't believe it, even though she probably is going back in time and repeating the past. Maybe she thinks she's some sort of experimental test subject that they're trying to do an experiment on her, that Leiblich is doing an experiment on her. Which might be true. Leiblich might have told her that, but she doesn't understand that the experiment might be testing Curie syndrome or something. Anyway, so she seems to be behind the whole thing, behind it to some degree, but she doesn't seem to like Leiblich, and she thinks everybody else is working for Leiblich. And she seems to have some sort of relationship with Leiblich. So we don't know what that relationship is exactly, why she doesn't like Leiblich even though she's working for them, like what her backstory is. Let's see here. Sarah has something at home, something bad about her home life. I forgot it was actually mentioned. Not many mysteries surrounding Sarah, but oh yeah, she has some sort of, I forgot what you call that. She has like a clasp. She has like a item precious to her that Tsumugi like stole from her. Why? So we don't know the story behind that. So anyway, I'm still confused about the floors. So anyway, I'll go back into it and try to figure out the answer to all those, playing as Takeshi, which I presume is the one you're actually kind of supposed to play first, and I went kind of out of order. So anyway, let's dive right in, I guess. New game. So I'm going to read this. I'm going to try to skip some of this dialogue. Well, first of all, let me look at the. So there's a manual for this. Manual. Forgot before starting recording to look up how to skip. Fui. It's cool. How do you skip? Skip messages that have only been read once. Skip. F3. This is really awkward. Let's see here. Controls fast forward, I presume. Okay, I'm gonna reread this though, just in case, because there's always important stuff at the beginning. So he was in the middle of a blue world. As far as the eye could see, a sheet of water reached into the distance. The May sun shimmered on its surface. Okay. High above, stretched a clear blue sky. The fresh new sky looked so glossy and vivid that it might spill down to earth at any moment. That was all that was reflected in his eyes. The straight line of the horizon stretched into the distance, dividing the sea from the heavens. So tranquil, he muttered. A solitary seagull traced a gentle arc in the sky as the wind carried it away. The wind, full of the smell of the ocean, blew by him gently. The din of people could be heard in the background. The merry sound of children's voices echoed brighter than the sunlight pouring down. So peaceful. It was like being inside a dream. "10 miles from Im Island, Komagahara Archipelago, Tokyo. The man-made island Incel Knoll rose above the waves of the water. It seemed like a place removed from reality. The word utopia might have sprung to mind to describe it. Actually, it's a slab of rock on the boat dock of this floating island where carved the following words. Where is heaven? Above the sky and at your feet." Leaning out over the railing of the island, he gazed into the ocean depths. In the blue distance, he saw a massive metallic structure swaying gently.
楽園か。
Utopia, huh? He mumbled and looked back casually. And there was someone wearing the Mew costume. So he's met that of the animals. For a moment, they eyed each other in silence.
どうも。
A hello. To clear the air, he nodded his head. The animal turned away, ignoring him. Maybe it's Tsumugi, maybe not. Upon closer inspection, he noticed something biting the animal from behind. So you got Coco. There's a young girl. She's shaped like a person. Looking closer, revealed that there was something strange about her as well. Pee-pee's biting at her. Namely a small okay. In front of him, there was a big tanuki being bit by a girl who's being bitten by a smaller tanuki. The scene was enough to make him lose a sense of reality. He rubbed his eyes, rubbed them some more, and opened his eyes again. Even after blinking several times, the bizarre scene refused to go away.
ね
That's Tsumugi's voice, isn't it?
え、この子たち、なんとかしてくれない？
Would you do something about this kid? Yep, it is Tsumugi's voice. Okay. For some reason, the first time I played, for some reason, I remember it being a male voice. So it's like, what was a male voice? But then, yeah, going back and listening to it again, it's Tsumugi's voice actor. Whispered the big tanuki. But the words didn't reach his mind because it was so busy trying to process the absurd scene. Must be dreaming, right? That was what he was really thinking. So let's go to the kid now. So the kid's like a dream that would not let him wake up, and whiteness. A cold white reality stretching forever. He felt the difference in temperature on his skin. The shock of it finally forced him to open his eyes. So that's maybe the wraparound. Like if he dies, it's whiteness. He dies to white in the okay. I wondered how long he had been sitting. It couldn't have been long. He had only been in the park an hour. So he remembers how long he'd been in the park. That's interesting. He'd been sitting on the bench the whole time, eating the same ice cream.
冷たい。
It's cold. Of course it was. It had melted into a muddy mess. The melted vanilla ice cream trickled on his hand, spilling on his lap.
冷たい。
Whoa, that's cold. The ice cream slowly soaked into the fabric of his pants. Finally, the coldness of it had spread completely, soaking into his skin. He had been sitting there a while. He had been sitting so long. But the person he was waiting for never came. There was no sign that she would. So we know for certain it's a she. So it's either Tsumugi, Coco, or you. Or Sora. But he wouldn't really wait for Sora, would he? What's this? I wonder why she hasn't come. He didn't know. Why am I here? It felt like he was teetering on the verge of utter confusion.
やれやれ。
Oh well. He shook his head and sighed. It seemed like his pants would dry anytime soon. Or whatever. What's wrong? He sensed a slight movement and a girl sat down next to him. She was sporting the theme park uniform, so he meets you, which, of course, he doesn't remember who he's waiting for, so it could have been you. Okay. I kind of skipped through this somewhat quickly here.
もしかして迷子かな？友達とはぐれちゃったのかな？
ううん。待ってるんだ。
待ってる？
いや、待ってたんだ。
待ってた。私を？
違うよ。
Maybe.
ここで待ってるように言われたから。
ふーん。でも、待ち人来たらずって感じね。見るからに待ちぼうけの待ちくたびれな少年。そうだ。ねえねえ、君一人なんでしょ？
え？
退屈してたんじゃない？レミューの中案内してあげようか。
でも待ち合わせが。
待ち合わせ？
えっと。
まあ、誰だか知らないけど。
Since he couldn't think of the name, right at the end of like Yu's route, he goes, "It's Toko. It's Coco." I remember the name of the girl who is like a ghost and passes through walls and stuff. Of course, Yu's name is really long, so maybe it's something to do with that or something.
いつまで経っても来ないなら、もう待たなくてもいいんじゃない？ね、行こうよ。
うん。
Still don't understand quite why Yu does this.
YOU?
Wait, the Japanese voice I didn't notice this before. The Japanese voice actor spells that out in like romanza.
I am you.
And that's in English.
私は田中。下の名前は You。
Yeah, that's wrong. It's like her family name is Tanaka. So she says like her first name is Tanaka, her last name is Yu. And then they have to interchange them for the English people.
You?
本当はもっと長い名前なんだけどね。
長い？
そう、果てしなく長い名前。だけど、めんどくさいからYouでいいよ。よろしく。
よろしく。
じゃあ、行こっか。
Back to Takeshi. Interesting, she did not compress. So Tsumugi did not compress. That's interesting. Okay, so Tsumugi fiddled with something on the wall of the room. Okay. On the
皆さん、
wall.
どうもこんにちは。あれ？反応がないですね。もう一度行きますよ。こんにちは。こんにちは。あ、元気のいい女の子発見。お名前は？やかみここです。で、こっちが愛犬のピピ。
ココちゃんはレミューに来たのは何回目かな？
うーんとね、1、2、3、4、5？今回が初めて。
面白い子ね。
よく言われます。ついでだから、もっと面白いことやってあげよっか。
え？
最近ね、友達から超ウケるコメっちを教わったの。
それはまた今度ね。
どうして？
これから皆さんにお伝えしなくちゃいけないことがあるの。
そっか。ほいじゃあしょうがないよね。でも、本当に面白いのにな。残念だね、ピッピン。
では、この度は海洋テーマパークレミューにご来場くださいまして誠にありがとうございます。これから皆さんにこのテーマパークレミューのご説明と少しだけ注意事項をお知らせいたします。
そんなのどうでもいいから早く中に入れてよ。
私ももちろんすぐにでも皆さんをご案内したいのですが、申し訳ありません。実はどうしても皆さんにはこの加圧室に留まっていただく必要があるのです。たった17分間だけです。その間だけどうかお付き合いください。まずこの部屋についてですが、ここは加圧室と申します。これからこの中の空気圧を6気圧まで加圧します。なぜ気圧を上げなければならないのか、理由は後でご説明するとして、その前にひとまず注意事項をお伝えいたします。これから気圧の上昇に伴い、皆さんは耳に違和感をお感じになると思います。高い山の上から降りてきた時と同じように、気圧が鼓膜を圧迫するからです。ですから、耳がちょっと変だなと思われた時には、指で鼻をつまみ、口をしっかりと閉じて耳抜きをするようにしてください。それでも耳が治らない場合や、体調が悪くなってしまわれた場合には、手を挙げて知らせてくださいね。その時にはすぐに加圧を停止します。ところで、耳抜きのやり方がわからない方いらっしゃいませんか？よろしいでしょうか？では、加圧を始めましょう。加圧時間は先ほども申し上げましたように17分間です。その間に皆さんにレミューの構造についてご説明いたします。皆さんもご存知の通り、レミューは海の中に浮かんでいます。水深17メートルから51メートルの海の中に。
Okay, I'll notate that on my end. 51 to 103 feet. So probably 51 feet per floor. So Ersteboden is at 51 feet. Zweite Stock at, oh, never mind. Would be 77 feet. And then Dritte Stock would be down at 103 feet, which would put it 3 atmospheres. So yeah, if you pressurize to 6 atmospheres, then you'd be greater than the amount of pressure at Dritte Stock, supposedly.
さて、図をご覧いただければお分かりになるように、これらは4つの層に分かれた構造をしています。
Couldn't we have gotten prompted to listen to the... We didn't see this the first time. What? It changed. No, it... Well, it changed. This is different. I wasn't given an option that I was previously given. Now, if you look at this chart, you will see that the structure is divided into 4 layers.
上から順に、インゼルヌル、エルストボーデン、ツバイトシュトック、ドリットシュトックと呼ばれていますが、
From the top, these are called Incel Null, Erste Boden, Zweite Stock, and Dritte Stock.
一般的に言われるグランドフロアから地下3階までのことだとお考えいただいて結構です。
In terms of a normal building, you might think of it as a structure with the ground floor extending down to a three-story basement.
インゼルヌルとはここ浮島のことです。
Incel Knoll here is a floating island.
洋上に浮かんだ巨大な人工島。
It is an immense man-made island floating in the ocean.
インゼルは島、ヌルはゼロという意味のドイツ語です。
In German, incel means island and knoll means zero. Maybe I did read this, I just forgot about it.
つまりここは地上階、ゼロフロアということになりますね。
I'll stop reading it and just go through.
次にエルストからドリットについてですが、
Out loud, that is.
ねえね
Okay, it happens. I should remember that verbose description.
えってば。ねえ、ここの米っちょ気にならない？気になるでしょ？
え、何が？
さっき言おうとした米っちょのことだよ。
米っちょ？
Yeah, the dog has a bell as well as her having a bell herself, but the one that she's wearing is like the style from Ever17.
知らないの？最近流行ってるっしょ？
知らないな、そんなの。なんだそれ？
アメリカンジョークのことだってば。米っちょ米っちょ。
ふん。
気になるでしょ？教えてほしいでしょ？
Oh, it saved the data. Okay. I'm going to save this. I guess I listen to the staffer's
まあ
explanation.
気にならないこともないけど、後でな。
Patting the little dog's head, he turned back to listen to the explanation.
というわけで各フロアの構造はお分かりになっていただけたと思います。
So now you should now have a general understanding of the layout of each floor. I guess we missed that part.
ところでこのレミューは飽和潜水仕様の設計になっています。
By the way, Lemu was designed with saturation diving specifications.
つまり内部の気圧が外の水圧と同等か、またはそれを上回るようになっているのです。
In other words, the air pressure inside is equivalent to or greater than the water pressure outside.
話の始めでもお伝えしましたように、
As I said at the
こ
beginning,
れから皆さんがお入りになる館内はどこもかしこも6気圧の混合ガスで満たされています。
the complex that we're all going to enter is filled with a mixture of gases at 6 atmospheres.
ですから今このようにして皆さんの体を6気圧の大気に慣らしているというわけです。
So right now our bodies are adjusting to be able to handle pressure equivalent to 6 atmospheres.
もちろんこの混合ガスは酸素、窒素、ヘリウムで構成されておりますので人体には全く無害です。
Of course, this mixture of gases is composed of oxygen, nitrogen, and helium, and is completely harmless to people.
どうして中の気圧を高めているのかと申しますと、
The reason for raising the air pressure inside is
それはレミューの安全性を確保するために必要不可欠だからです。
that it is essential to make Lemu safe for everyone.
皆さんはこれから海の中へと潜っていくわけですが、
Okay, everyone, we are now going to enter the ocean.
ここでちょっぴり不安に思われている方も中にはいらっしゃるのではないでしょうか。
Are any of you here feeling just a little bit nervous?
海水が漏れて中に入ってきたらどうするんだとか、水圧に押しつぶされて沈没してしまうんじゃないかとか、
You might be worried about what would happen if seawater started leaking inside, or that you might be crushed by the water pressure, or us sinking.
しかしどうかご安心ください。そのような心配は一切ご無用です。
However, please relax. There is nothing to worry about.
内部の気圧を高めているので、このレミューが水圧によって押しつぶされることは絶対にありえないのです。
There is absolutely no way that Lemu could be crushed by the outside water pressure because we have raised the air pressure inside.
ところで、この加圧室に入る前に、 皆さんにイヤホンのようなものをお配りしましたよね。
By the way, before we entered this pressurization chamber, we handed out earphones to everyone, remember?
はい、そうです。今皆さんが耳に装着されているそのイヤホンです。
Yes, that's right, the earphones that everyone is using right now.
これはただのイヤホンではなく、音声変換器と言います。
These are not your average earphones, they are voice alternators.
レミューの中にはヘリウムガスが充満しているので、この変換器を耳につけていないとアヒルのような声に聞こえてしまうのです。
See if he turns to Coco. Lemieux is pumped full of helium gas, so without these in your ears, you'll sound like a duck. He removed his voice alternators to see what would happen. It's true, people really do sound like ducks. Then again, maybe they sound more like aliens than ducks. The voices of the people around him jumped to a strange higher tone.
なあ、なんか喋ってみてくれよ。
Hey, say something. Like what?
なんだよその声。すげえ笑える。
Your voice is hilarious. Oh, my voice.
声がどうかしたの？
What's wrong with my voice?
さっきの説明聞いてなかったのかよ。
You weren't listening to the explanation.
何笑ってるの？ニヤニヤしてるの？
What are you laughing at? Why are you smiling like that?
怪しい人みたいだよ。
You're acting really weird.
つうか自分の声自分で聞いてみ。
Why don't you try listening to your own voice? Huh?
おかしいぞ。まるで8本足の宇宙人だ。
It's so funny, you sound like an eight-legged alien.
宇宙人？宇宙人ってピロピロのケロケロ？
Alien is in take us to your leader, Gooba Juba Duba space alien?
クイクイ星人とか太陽星人とか？
Like a Martian or something, or planet Kiki or something?
火星人だとこの辺の先っちょからビームがミューッと。
Star person from the far edge of the galaxy with lasers?
それよりさ、コメチョの方が絶対面白いって。
My joke was a lot funnier than that.
もういい。もうお腹いっぱい。サンキュー。
That's enough, I can't take any more of this, thanks. He placed the voice alternators back in his ears again and turned back to watch the staffer.
さあ、説明はこれで終わりです。
And that pretty much covers
あと
it.
1分ほどでこの部屋の脇にあるドアが開きます。
In approximately 1 minute, the door on this side of the room will open.
ドアの向こうはエレベーターになっていますので、下降すればその先には素晴らしい楽園が広がっています。
Okay, so I'm going to go back and I'm actually going to do the original listen to the joke. And the reason why is because it might be that there's like
気になるで
points.
しょ？教えてほしいでしょ？
It might be that there's points like in Ever17, and you get Coco points if you choose to listen to her joke. Whereas, like, the Sora points don't really matter as much. Well, Sora just doesn't notice if you're listening. But she might. So you might be exchanging Coco points for Sora points. But Coco is the more interesting character. So if there is points, which I don't know, then I would want the Coco points. So I would do listen to the joke.
気になるかも。
And I would fast forward through the joke because I already did this part.
はい、そうです。
さて、それじゃ行くか。
ところで、ねえ、一人で来たの？
ああ、俺？いや、友達とはぐれちゃってさ。
迷子なんだ。
ちょっと違うけど、まあ似たようなもんかな。エレベーター降りたら、そこら辺歩いて探してみるよ。
さっきの係の人に相談してみたら？
お、それもそうだな。ちょっとすいません。
Yep, she disappears. Back to the kid.
じゃあ君、一人でレミューに来たんだ。
うん、そうだよ。
それにしてもさ、珍しいよね。男一人で遊びに来るなんてさ。でも、どうして連れの人と一緒に入場しなかったの？わざわざレミューの中で待ち合わせなんて。
それは。
うん、まあよい。わけは聞かないでおいてあげよう。しかしあれだ。要するに君は振られちゃったみたいだね。
I guess in the bad is a bad ending where someone tells you to wait on that bench.
え、振られた？
図星だったのかな。ごめんなさい。まあまあ、そう落ち込みなさんな。
Changed modes.
私がとことん面倒見てあげるからさ。
うん。
Maybe he was dumped by you.
でもさ、
何？
ユウは今仕事中じゃなかったの？
固いこと言わないの。暇だったし、ちょうどよかったのよ。上に参ります。ああ、ちょっと暑いね。
うん。
変なとこ触らないでよ。くすぐったい。あんまり動かないで。
そんなこと言われても息ができないんだ。あ、
どうしたのいきなり。待ってよ、少年。少年。
Interesting that she's calling him kid already. Well, yeah, but it's because that's the default anyway. You see Sarah.
待って。あ、
Said to wait on that bitch.
あ、なんだろう、この感じ。
どうかされましたか、お客様。どなたかお探しですか？
え、そうです。人を探しているんです。待ち合わせをしてて、でも会えなくて。
どんな方です？お名前は？
それは。
ちょっとそこにいるやつ。
僕のこと？
ああ、そうだ。
Okay. So Takeshi, like, confronts him.
実は聞きたいことがある。
あ、
なあ、知らないか。 いきなりですまないけど、知らないかな。ここら辺にいなかったかな。俺の知り合いなんだけど。
So embarrassing. It's Takeshi who says this, isn't it?
一人は身長 5.1 フィート、体重17缶。サングラスが似合ってない。手は遅いが、足は速くて3枚目。
Yeah, so many comments. That was the Takeshi, not the kid.
もう一人はスーツで丸刈り、ネクタイなし。耳にピアスが3つ、鼻に1つ。趣味は編み物。そして最後はこう言って、派手なフリルのたくさんついた地味な花柄ワンピース。という、どこにでもいそうな3人組なんだけど、見なかった？
いいえ。
そっか。悪いね。呼び止めちゃって。
Coco starts talking to the kid. Didn't remember that that happens.
ねえねえ、ココのコメッチョ聞きたくない？
え、君、誰？
So we're at Takeshi now.
しかし参ったね。ああ、そうだ、携帯。
So I thought that he might have missed these directions because he was listening to Coco. Not exactly. Like you couldn't have heard these messages. Like you couldn't have heard the instructions that your phone wouldn't work in here anyway, even if you picked to not listen to the joke.
マジですか。
So the kid does not have a normal version. Okay, that's might be. Wow, it's completely wrong. Wow, that sucked.
このご時世に県外とは。すいません、人を探しているんです。知り合いです。アナウンスで呼び出してほしいんだけど、名前は、もしもし？もしもーし、聞こえ、ちょっと贅肉が多いんじゃないか、あんた。おい、お客が困ってるのに、その態度はないんじゃない？ああこら、タヌキ！お前だ！
お客様、どうしました？お腹でも痛いんですか？
Completely ignore that the mascot just punched him. I'm gonna try to go for some Moogie points.
いや、なんでもない。ちょっとこけただけ。
そうですか。 あれ、あのミュミュンどうしたんだろう。持ち場に戻りなさいっての。まあいいや。お客さん、何かありましたらいつでも呼んでくださいね。
もう少し自力で探してみるか。
Oh, so that just skips the explanation. Oh, okay. Like if you say that the Tanuki punched you, you get more of an explanation.
で、どっちに行きゃいいんだ？は
Back to the kid.
あ、なんなんだ一体。
That other girl being Coco.
ここに何しに来たんだっけ僕は。
Okay, so he's now his white stock.
ちょっとこっちに来てくれない？
So Tsumugi again.
あ、
ほら早く来てよ。ここどこだかわかる？
ここは。
ねえ、ここどこだかわかる？
ここは。
更衣室。更衣室っていうのは内緒の行為をするところ。
行為？
It's like kind of like a. Says she has to do her little villainous monologue before doing her villain thing.
え？それ預かっておいてくれる？ほらちゃんと着せてあげるから。これでよし。じゃあとはお願いね。
あ、
And Takeshi finds him in the costume.
誰？
お前こそ誰だ？ いきなりあんなことしやがって。
あんなことって
しらばっくれるな。
何のことだかわからないよ。
お前だろ、俺を殴ったのは。
違うよ、違う。知らない。
嘘つけ、忘れたのか？
Yes, but not that.
嘘じゃない。女の人が突然この着ぐるみを渡してきて。
あれ、お前、そういや、さっき会ったっけ？いつの間に着替えたんだ？
今来たばっかりだよ、僕は。
今来たばっかり？おい、何言ってるんだ？
だけど、どうしてこんな。
どうした？おい、誰か来てくれ。なんだか様子がおかしい。
どうしました？
ああ、あんたさっきの。ちょっとこいつ急に倒れて。
ちょっと見せて。大丈夫だけど、このままにはしておけないね。
手伝うよ。
お願い。
Back to the kid. Switch back to Takeshi?
でもなんだろう、貧血？
着ぐるみが熱かったんじゃないか？着慣れないみたいだったから。
ありえるね。熱射病かな。
なあ、なんとかなりそうか？
重い病気じゃなさそうだし、しばらく休ませておけば大丈夫だよ。
そっか。
ありがとう、手伝ってくれて。あとは私が見るから。
No one wonders why the kid she was trying to take on a tour earlier ended up in the Yum Yun costume.
ああ、それじゃあ頼むよ。人助けか。俺はここに何しに来たんだっけな。
Back to the kid. Oh, yeah. Okay, so there's a bed below in the decompression room below, and sitting on it is Coco. Takeshi again. Went down to Drite stock.
ああ、すいません、乗ります。
And he sees just Tsumugi in the elevator.
何なのあなた、どうしてこんなところにいるの？なんでついてくるのよ。
Just apologize.
ごめん。何か気に障ったかな？
別に。
ん？
つまり、このエレベーター、従業員専用なの。だから。
Oh. Yeah, this is new. We didn't get this elevator is for employees only. We chose like the more confrontational choice instead apologized. That's good. I made the right choice there. Okay.
ああ、なるほど。
Oh, I see. Boom. Jolted suddenly, the elevator stopped. She looked at the ceiling. The lights flicker unsteadily. Okay, back to the same stuff.
なんだ
まさか。
まさかまさか何なんだよ
Couldn't be. Okay, so back to the kid. That's Sarah. Back to Takeshi.
まさかって何を知ってる
何も知らない。
She says.
あなたは何を知ってるの？
Do you know something?
知るわけないだろ
How could I know anything?
おい誰かいないのか俺はここだここにまだいるんだ誰か出してくれよ返事をしてくれ
誰かいませんか？なんだ、誰もいないのか。一人か。
There's Deep Blue.
「気圧が低下してる」。
出口はど
Oh, it goes both ways. Oh. Didn't notice that before. Like that little bar that goes across the middle that changes characters, it went both ways there. Yeah. So it's like double. Like that's common text between both characters there. I didn't catch that the first time. I thought it was like all the kids' text. Wow, that first episode was really bad. Like I thought like the kid was saying, "Have you found my friends?" Not Takeshi. Like in that conversation between the kid and Takeshi, got the characters mixed up. And then here I didn't realize it was a double. And so I thought I just switched back from Takeshi to the kid, and all that last bit of like monologue there was the kids. No, it's actually shared dialogue or shared internal monologue. It's like similar between the two. The kid is down in the bottom of the pool in the middle of the rest area. Takeshi is trapped in the elevator. Now It's kind of like there's a series of novels um, based on Tim LaHaye's understanding of what he thought the end times, according to how they would be depicted by the Bible, would be like, called Left Behind, and I believe it's the ninth installment. I don't know whichever one it is. There's an installment of it. Forgot if this was Apollyon or Armageddon. Well, one of the installments might have been Armageddon. They have both of the main characters, one called Rayford and one called Buck, in a situation that could be their death. And then it cuts to, and then there's just this section at the end, which is this ambiguous dialogue of someone crawling and dying. And you don't know which of the characters it is until you read the next book. This is kind of like that. Anyway, I don't know if anybody knows what I was referring to. But I'll spoil it though. 3 spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Buck is the one that dies. Okay, just to prove that I read it. So, I think if you click Who Am I, you play as the kid. If you click I've got to find my friends, you play as Takeshi. I'm now playing as Takeshi. Wow, it was awkward up until here. Oh, it's green when you play as Takeshi. Okay. It changes to first person. I've got to find them. I quietly opened the door. I turned the knob, and the door to the elevator opened slowly.
System wieder Aufnahme.
Announcement. System Wiederaufnahme, which I presume is German. I heard the mechanical announcement, but didn't understand what it meant. The battery is probably dead? I pushed the button, but the PDA didn't respond. Thanks to the help of the backlight of my display, I had found the emergency manual opening mechanism for the door. Hey, are you alive? I spoke to the girl. Yes. She looked a little tired. Well, she was wearing that yun. So yeah, she would be tired. I heard the sound of water flowing somewhere. It was a muffled sound, but there was no sign of anyone around. What's going on here? It's unclear how much time it took for him to get out of the elevator, so I guess the reason why he didn't evacuate with everyone is because he was trying to figure out a way to get out of the elevator and couldn't.
さあね。
I don't know. Let's go see if we can find anyone else. We went inside the corridor. Most of the doors were locked as if to keep us from intruding. We found a floor directory, so we decided to look around the rooms listed on it. We came out to an open space. It was called the rest area. On the floor, there were scattered a mess of bags, a pair of shoes, wrapping paper from the souvenir shop, and other stuff. As I had expected, there was no one there. There was a thick set of shutters in the circular space in the center of the area. Ah ha 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 ha. I laughed an empty laugh. I wonder if this area is under construction. It's not. That's probably why nobody's here. Yeah, I'll bet that's why. Let's try the next place. We continued down the path we had been walking. The door down the corridor was shut firmly. Doesn't this door open?
無理じゃない？スイッチもないみたいだし。
I don't think it will. I don't see a switch. We chose a corridor which was open and walked slowly down it. We didn't come across anyone. It felt like we were walking a route that someone had set up for us. Nice hint. A door on the side of the corridor had been left open and we went in. There was a stand selling tuna sandwiches. It smelled like they had been cooking until recently. Hey, mister, I'll take 2 of the sandwiches that are half price on weekdays. If only someone were here. Looks like he ran off and left his stand. Doesn't he have any pride? Huh, there aren't any other customers here. Business isn't exactly booming, is it? I'm hungry. I wasted too much energy walking around. And my friends take off somewhere without telling me. Don't you think that's rude?
別に
Not really.
あなたのことはどうでもいい。
I just met you, and I don't particularly care about you. Okay, whatever you say. We returned to the corridor we'd come from, turned at the intersection, and looked for other rooms. Everywhere looked the same. I wonder if everyone is hiding somewhere. Maybe they were trying to surprise us.
なぜどうしてそう思うの？
But why do you think so? Well, it's just kind of a feeling. I had to speak to stay calm. I felt like if I went quiet, I would return to the darkness of before. In other words, I am really annoying. In the room we went next in, ruins were awaiting us. Murian ruins. They were filled with silence. If it weren't for the paper garbage strewn across the floor, it would have been hard to believe that anyone had been around. Well, it's a lot more calm than the kid route where you, get washed up and it's crazy. Anyway, where is everybody? Hey, give me a break here. Where'd everybody go? There's a limit to how far you can take a joke. Sigh. Why doesn't anyone come out? I sank to the floor. I didn't know why, but I was having trouble breathing. Against my will, I started to sweat. What do you think? What happened here? Why haven't we seen anyone?
さあ確かなことは一つだけ。
I don't know. There's only one thing for sure. She said this without changing the expression on her face.
ただごとじゃない。
This is not normal.
このままだと
If this keeps up,
すごく危険。
we could be in danger.
そうでしょ？
Don't you think so? She stared at me with calm eyes. I thought I heard a low groan from somewhere. I swallowed nervously. I nodded uncomfortably. The next instant, the girl dashed to the other side of the corridor. I quickly stood up and followed her. I was exhausted, but I used every ounce of my power to push ahead. We jumped into a small entrance on the side of the corridor. We headed up. We started climbing upstairs at top speed. We ignored our pounding hearts. We simply ran. We ran without looking back. We ran. We reached the top floor, and I put my hand on the emergency hatch connected to the floating island. The knob didn't budge. Damn, why won't it open? Kabang! The whole structure rocked. The hatch gave off a squeaky sound, and the knob bent unnaturally. I'm gonna go, Just the settings. Okay, it's on minimum.
こっちへ
This way! The girl screamed. Oh, I didn't know that Tsubugi could scream. We rushed back to the stairs again. We had no time to go down each step. We jumped down toward the direction where we could see the corridor. The impact with the ground rattled my knees terribly, but I ignored the pain. Pant, pant. Phew, pant, pant. I was out of breath, I gasped. Ha ha ha. Eh-hoo ha. Hee-hee-hoo ha. Safe place, Pokebone? The girl's expression didn't change. Anyway, she hasn't lost her breath much after running that hard. Hey, don't you want to rest? I want to rest.
どうぞご勝手に。
Go ahead, do what you want. Fine then. I sat down on the floor. The girl walked slowly ahead down the corridor. We could see hundreds of colorful fish swimming comfortably outside the windows. Looks like we're in Ersteboden. The room was quiet too. It was just the two of us, me and her. Then I remembered that I still didn't know who she was. She told me to do what I want, but until then we've been trying to escape together. I wondered what she was all about. It was all a mystery to me.
誰？
Who? Her voice caused me to look up. She hadn't said it to me. Hey, is somebody there? I asked this as I stood. The girl stood still, her eyes were focused in the distance. I followed her gaze. A lady had appeared, where there had been no sign of anyone a moment before, and she was dressed as a park employee. I hadn't heard any footsteps. What in the... When did she get here?
逃げてください。
Well, at least in this route you get hints that she's a projection. In the kids' route you didn't get those hints. It was like, what?
ダメです。ここから早く逃げて。
This area is not safe. Please escape.
逃げてください。お願いします。
Please, please, you must escape from here.
危ないんです。危険なんです。
It is dangerous, it is dangerous. She looked slightly panicked. But she didn't warn Kid and you for some reason. Hey, what happened? What's dangerous? Stay calm, explain what's going on.
お客様、早く。速やかな避難を。予想外のトラブルが。
You need to escape! We have had unexpected trouble.
レベルデルタ。ティーフ・ブラウ。
Level Delta, Teeth Blow. Oh, so she identified it as Deep Blue. She mumbled this again. Please escape, please. Please get out of here. Crash. This is going to be that scene from the opening cutscene, isn't it? Ooh-ah! Glass shattered. Massive amount of seawater. And countless fish came flooding in. It was as if they were attacking me. What are you doing? Hurry! Whoa! Oh, the force of the water and destruction was incredible. The approaching swell mowed down everything in its path. It swirled and swallowed debris on the floor. Someone's dropped purse, a floor guide for the facility, anything and everything it encountered. I wondered how fast that water is moving. Ridiculous thoughts flashed through my mind. And I wonder how fast I can run. There was no guarantee the water wouldn't catch me. Whoa. I ran frantically and jumped into the air. There was water flowing underfoot. Whoa. I slipped. I knew this was bad. If I took a spill, I would be sleeping with these fish.
まったく世話の焼ける。
You're in so much trouble. I was carried along into the air. The girl had grabbed my arm and yanked me forward with incredible force. She ran lithely like a tiny gazelle. And her speed, it felt like I had just hopped into a car. It almost felt as though she might rip my arm off. Her strength was unbelievable.
こちらです。急いで、急いで。
Over there, hurry.
分かってる。
I know. And even harder to believe was that the park attendant was running ahead of us, leading the way. When did she get ahead of me? It looked like she had just been sucked into the swirling waters ahead, but no. Damn.
ダメです。こちらは動作していません。戻って。
This is no good. This is not functioning. Go back.
そんな暇ない。
There is no time. bounded for the slope into another corridor. Bounded from the slope. Crap, which way do we take to get out of here? We ran without stopping, looking for an exit. It's a dead end.
ここ、行ける？入れ
Can
る
we
の
go?
ね？
Can we go through here?
はい。
Yes,
行くわよ。
I'm going. Hey, this isn't a corridor. Ah. She kicked through some metal mesh and into a big exhaust duct. Big air exhaust duct. It was a sloping pipe-like tube. We shot down the incline, stumbling. It sounded like there was a crazy froth of angry water roaring behind me. No, it was already caught up. I was already caught up in it. Everyone was just flushed along. We were spun in circles. I had no idea which way was up and which down. We then were all spit out into a corridor on the lower level. Saved by a hair, the shutter on the duct clanked shut solidly behind us. The flow of water finally stopped. Ah. It was solid ground. It was a floor. I was safe. I wasn't in the water. I was alive. That was good. Good? There were still fish flopping around on the floor, but the water had receded a while earlier.
この区画の排水完了を確認しました。
This sector has been confirmed drain-free of water.
しかし、施設の約 30% はすでに
However, 30% of the facility is already
冠水、浸水したものと思われます。
believed to be submerged or completely flooded. Hey, wait a second. We know more of it's going to be. Like, over 60% is going to end up flooded. I thought we were going to escape up. If we go down, hey, what are we supposed to do now?
そんなこと言ったって、しょうがないじゃない。
There is no point in arguing about this. Wow, I like the wet hair detail.
申し訳ありません。
I'm sorry, but the employee looked extremely sorry and was bowing.
私の責任です。
It is my responsibility. Just say it's not your fault. It's not your fault. I don't think that this is any one person's fault. But why has this happened? That's the issue. Sorry, I'm just a little aggravated. I didn't mean to take it out on you.
いえ、
It's okay. The fish on the floor were still jumping around.
本当に申し訳ありません。
I'm really, really sorry. The park employee was bowing so low that her head approached the floor. For some reason, her clothes were completely dry.
ここに突っ立っていても仕方ないわ。
See, it gives you hints in this route. It doesn't do us any good just standing around here. Can you show us the way?
わかりました。近くに比較的安全な場所があります。ご案内します。
Certainly, there's a relatively safe place nearby. I will take you there. Relatively safe? That was about the same as saying that everywhere else was dangerous. We turned around and started heading back to the corridor we'd been washed down. I looked at the panel and finally realized that we were on Zweite Stock, basement level 2. We went in a nearby attraction. So, are we the only folks here?
わかりません。現在調査中です。
I don't know. I'm currently investigating. Yeah, right. Investigating what? I thought as she walked. Ah. What is it?
誰かこちらに来ます。3名。
3 other people are approaching. What?
ああ。
Wait, they're meeting in the carousel? They met right in front of the control room. Well, we'll see. Maybe they don't meet the kid until they're right in front of the control room. There's you.
それにしても一時はどうなることかと思ったけど。
For a while, I wondered what was going to happen to us, but It was the one of the female employees that I met once before.
命あってのものだねってやつよね。
I'm glad we survived.
あれ
Hey, aren't you? The girl finally noticed us. I didn't think there would be anybody else here.
そりゃどうも。元気
Yeah, how are you? About as good as I look, I suppose.
そっちも大変だったみたいね。
Seems like you had a rough time of it too. Hey, lucky guess. Relaxing a bit, I returned her smile. There were two people behind the girl. What in the world? I am so confused right now, just looking at this. Why is Coco there? What? One of them was the girl I thought was named Coco. When our eyes met, Coco grinned.
また会ったね。
Oh, we meet again. It's been a while. It doesn't have to be right now, but Coco, will you tell me a joke later? I'm really in the mood for one.
いいよ。考えとく。
Sure, no problem. I'll think of one. She nodded brightly. The other person was the kid I helped to the infirmary. His expression looked darker somehow. If he'd become super upbeat all of the sudden, that would have been weird too, but for some reason it bothered me. Is something wrong with him? He doesn't look so hot.
ああ、彼、ちょっとね。
He's a bit... The attendant hesitated.
ところで、
By the way,
ねえソラ、状況はわかる
hey Sora, do you have any idea what our situation is? The girl attendant addressed the question to the staff member in the dress.
いえ、断線がひどくて、コネクションを回復しつつ調べていますが、まだ時間がかかります。
The communication lines are down. I've been investigating ways to restore our connection, but is going to take some time. The attendant called Sora said this.
だったら、中央制御室に行こう。あそこからなら詳しくモニターできるでしょ
In that case, let's go to the central control room. We can monitor things in detail from there, right?
そうですね。すみません。私が至らないばかりに不便ですよね。
That sounds good. I wish I were more useful.
気にしないで、ソラ。
Don't worry about it, Sora. With that, the girl addressed me again.
それじゃあ、これからドリットストック、3階に降りるけど、
Going down to Drite Stock, the third floor underwater.
ついてくるよね。
You're coming, right? Yeah, I'll go. We took the emergency corridor behind one of the attractions. It looked like there were a number of these narrow corridors above and below other corridors and rooms. I figured that they were probably used as shortcuts by employees as well.
私は田中。
My name's Tanaka.
田中優。本当はもっと長ったらしい名前なんだけど、優でいいよ。あなたは
Tanaka, you. My real name is really a lot longer, but just call me you. What's your name? I'm Takeshi.
倉成ね。よろしく、倉成。
Takeshi Kuranari. Good to know you, you. The whole time, the girl in the dark clothes silently watched our exchange. We went down the stairs together. Me, Coco, you, Sora, the kid, the girl in black, 6 of us total. We arrived at Drite Stock, the 3rd floor underwater. We used a ladder in the emergency corridor to descend to another corridor and turned around the corner. Control room. It seemed that this was the central control room.
どうここの端末からならわかりそう
Do you think, can you learn anything from the computers here?
そうですね。確かに直接アクセスした方が早そうです。
Let's see, it looks like directly accessing it would be the fastest route. Sora faced the monitor and held up both hands. Instantly, the content of the screen began to change with a number of windows opening, closing, and searches for data underway. Hey, you can operate these computers without even touching them? I've got the latest cell phone and it's got a touch panel. and it's got a kinetic recharge function.
静電充電って何？
What's that? Huh? Oh, it means that even if the battery dies, if you walk around with it or shake it, it will recharge itself. It takes a while, though. I took my PDA from my pocket and lent it to Coco.
こんな感じ？
Like this. Coco took the PDA and shook it using short movements like she was shaking maracas. Yeah, like that. The lamp that had indicated the battery was dead lit up.
本当だ！
Oh, you're right. The harder you shake it, the more it lights up. The lamp flickered. I didn't know if she was having fun or what, but Coco kept up her maraca act for a while. It looked like the PDA wasn't broken, all I had to do was wait and it would probably work again. It seemed the professional diving waterproof specifications it had boasted were actually true. Sora typed quietly on the keyboard. What? She was typing the keyboard, but it looked like her hands weren't even touching the keyboard. I figured that was my imagination. Well, they gave you so many hints of this in this route.
わかりました。
I've learned something. Sora said it in a businesslike manner. She seemed done with the computer. Everyone looked
皆
at
さ
her.
ん、どうか落ち着いてください。お願いします。
Be calm. As she said that, I noticed she looked a little pale. The room went quiet as the focus shifted to her.
まず、1階、エルストボーデンは
First, the first floor, Ersteboden.
一部階段を除き、完全に浸水しました。
The whole floor is flooded except for one segment of stairs.
浸水？一階全体が？
Flooded the whole first floor?
はい。隔壁もすべて下ろされ、通路を通行することはできません。
Is that the set of stairs from the like you ending? They go up at the end? Yeah, all the partitions have dropped, and it isn't possible to get through any of its corridors.
つまりどうやっても上には行けない。
In other words, there's no way up.
そういうことです。
That is correct.
また、ツバイトシュトック、ドリットシュトックについてですが、
As for his white stock and Drite stock,
第3区画は防水扉の閉鎖が間に合わず、完全浸水しています。
the watertight doors did not close in time, and Sector 3 is completely flooded.
その他の区画の各フロアは今のところ健在です。
All other sectors on the other floors are completely fine.
ただし、いくつかの部屋には先ほど流入した海水が溜まっています。
However, some of the rooms do have water from the flood we just experienced.
現在排水ポンプを稼働していますが、完全排水には相当な時間を要するものと思われます。
Currently, the bilge pumps are functioning, but it will take a lot of time for the water to completely drain.
排水ポンプ？
Bilge pumps?
電気は普通に使えてるってことだよね。
Does that mean we have electricity?
そうですね。
Let's see.
エレベーターを含め、一部の電子的システムが制御不能に陥っています。
Some parts of the electric system, including the elevator, are not functioning.
原因は不明ですが、各区画の反線断線が影響しているでしょう。
The cause of this is unclear, but it would seem that circuit damage in each section is playing a role.
先ほどまで私が十分に状況を把握できなかったのもそのためです。
It is another reason that I was not able to survey the situation adequately before. What does she mean she wasn't able to? Something about her words nagged at my mind, but I listened to the rest of what she had to say.
しかし、発電機は正常に機能しており、電力は供給されています。
However, the generator is functioning normally and supplying power.
ですから、発電、循環系統にトラブルがない限りは、ある程度時間がかかっても排水は完了できます。
So as long as the generator is operating as well as the circuitry, the water should be cleared with time.
ちなみに、館内の内部圧は1気圧です。
Incidentally, the internal air pressure of the complex is 1 atmosphere.
酸素濃度 22%、窒素濃度 75%、ヘリウム濃度 3%、気温24度。
The air is 20% oxygen, 75% nitrogen, 3% helium, and temperatures And the temperatures, yes. And the temperatures is 24 degrees Celsius.
当分私たちが中で過ごしていくことは可能と言いたいのね。
So what you're basically saying is we're safe for a while, right?
申し訳ありません。その通りです。
I'm sorry, that is correct.
皆さんには今しばらくの間、館内でお待ちいただくことになります。
You'll be forced to wait inside the complex for a while. For a while? How long is that?
救助が来るまでです。
Until help comes.
救援要請はずっと送り続けています。しかし、
I'm continuously sending out a request for assistance, however.
現在、それが届く保証はありません。
Right now, there is no guarantee that it will reach anyone.
インゼルヌルへの通信線は、非常回線も含め、物理的遮断によって使用不能です。
All communication lines to Incel Null, including the emergency ones, have been physically severed and are unusable.
また、海底ケーブルでのネットワーク接続、音波式水中通話、ともに試していますが、
I've also been attempting to make contact via seafloor cable network using sonar.
通信系の回復のめどはまだ立っていません。
Right now, I cannot estimate when the network will be back online. So we were like little kids lost smack in the middle of the ocean and nobody can hear our SOS?
はい。
Exactly. So I have to stop here. This is going to be a relatively short one. Mao, that is... So what? Basically, I learned that, no, there is no normal version of the kid. I got that dialogue mixed up, and I said a lot about it. That's really embarrassing. 2, if you play as Takeshi, you get a completely different exposition. Like, much less of Lemieux gets flooded. And instead of Sara being rescued from the elevator, I presume that's what happens, it's Coco. So how am I supposed to reconcile how playing as a different character makes the situation different? Well, maybe, just maybe, when you play as Takeshi, you're playing like the 2017 version. And when you play as the kid, you're playing the 2034 version. This right here, so we know because Sora said it's deep blue, that Sora knows that what's happening right now is deep blue. So this might be the deep blue. This is a different, maybe just a different deep blue, because deep blue happens periodically. This is just a different instance of deep blue. And the kids one happens way in the future, and this one is more recent. However, there's supposed to be supposedly a deep blue that happened in 2019. It didn't actually happen in 2017, it happened in 2019. So that's kind of interesting. Yeah, that's just my my running theory right now is that this is like the 2017 or 2019 deep blue, and then the kid is in that 2034 deep blue. Now, how do I explain Coco being in this? Well, maybe it's because Coco is in this and she dies. And then she becomes kind of like a ghost. But it doesn't explain how Sara ends up in the 2034 version. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, I definitely messed up. I don't, kind of weird. Okay, well, I'll do a save. And then I'll stop recording.